I,
your names,
Dr. Emomotimi Agama,
do solemnly swear
ethics and standards, and promoting its image and growth.
It is both an honor and a pleasure to welcome you all to this very important conference, organized by the Chartered Institute of Financial Investment Analysts of Nigeria. I commend the Institute for bringing us together, policymakers, regulators, financial experts, and development stakeholders to deliberate on an issue that is central to Nigeria's economic future. Nigeria today stands at a defining moment in its development journey. Across the world, digital technologies are reshaping economies, transforming industries, and redefining how societies create and distribute value. In our country, Nigeria, the rapid growth of financial technology, digital payment platforms, artificial intelligence, and platform-based enterprises has opened up unprecedented opportunity for innovation, entrepreneurship, and economic expansion. However, as promising as these developments are, the benefits of digital transformation are not automatically inclusive. Significant challenges remain, ranges from gaps in digital infrastructure and regulatory coordination to limited digital literacy, cybersecurity concerns, and unequal access to affordable capital. These challenges require thoughtful policy responses and sustained collaboration across sectors. It is therefore particularly timely and commendable that CIFIAN has convened this conference to focus on the intersection between digital economic transformation and inclusive growth in Nigeria. As the capacity building and policy research arm of the National Assembly of Nigeria, the National Institute for Legislative and Democratic Studies, NILDS, remains committed to strengthening legislative governance and promoting evidence-based policy making. In this regard, the success of Nigerian digital economy was based on sound, forward-looking legislative and regulatory frameworks that encourage innovations and investments while safeguarding public interest, protecting consumers, and ensuring that no segment of society is left behind. This conference provides an important multi-stakeholder platform for robust dialogue to examine the fiscal, regulatory, and investment issues shaping the future of Nigerian digital economy. It is my expectation that the discussion will go beyond identifying challenges and will generate practical and actionable policy recommendations capable of deepening financial inclusion, strengthening consumer protection, addressing cybersecurity risk, and promoting broader economic participation. Let me emphasize that inclusive growth is not optional. It is an essential fundamental requirement for a democratic stability and sustainable national development. A digital economy that excludes large segments of the population risks widening inequality and undermining social cohesion. On the other hand, a well-governed digital ecosystem has the potential to stimulate innovation, empower small and medium-sized enterprises, expand access to finance, and significantly enhance national productivity. NILDS is proud to partner with CIFIAN in advancing this important and forward-looking agenda. We firmly believe that sustained collaboration among legislature, regulators, industry stakeholders, academic and policy experts is essential for designing responsive, inclusive, and future-ready policy framework. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I am confident that the deliberations today will contribute meaningfully to shaping Nigerian digital transformation in a manner that promotes shared prosperity and sustained development. It is on this note, and in my honor and privilege, to formally declare this conference on digital economic transformation and inclusive growth challenges in Nigeria open. I wish you all a very productive and fruitful deliberation. Thank you very much.
It's indeed a great pleasure that I'm here before you this day, standing as the president of the Chartered Institute of Financial and Investment Analysts, Nigeria, to appreciate the National Institute for Legal and Democratic Studies to have graciously permitted the Institute to collaborate with them. Indeed, it has been a journey so far with the Institute. But I thank God today that we are partnering and collaborating with this great institute, which of course will also project CIFIAN into the next phase. I also want to thank the Securities and Exchange Commission. Special thanks to the DG, Dr. Agama, who also accepted at least to do this presentation for us today. Dr. Agama, of course, has been a very reliable and reverent friend over time, and he has been in the forefront of digital, economy. And I felt one of the best person that can at least deliver this paper will be no one else than Dr. Emomotimi Agama. CIFIAN has been there for a while. Since 2012 or thereabout, we've been here, and we've been bringing in, raising up professionals in the area of investments and financial analysis. And we have well over 15,000 members and lots of professors, a lot of doctors, and of course most of these persons are fellows of the institute. And so for those who are here today, I believe that after the end of this program, you'll be willing to also join with us so as to at least move this institute to a greater height. And finally, I also want to speak on behalf of my president, that is the president of the Capital Market Academy of Nigeria, Professor Uchio Waleke. He has also been very, very instrumental to this institute. And so, ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to once again welcome you all. And I know it's because you want this institute to stand, hence you are here today. God bless you as you support us in our course of progress. Thank you, and God bless you.
It's a wonderful opportunity for me to be here today, to be hosted by our dear able Director General of Nigerian Institute of Legislative and Democratic Studies, who has laid a very wonderful kind of a protocol that I cannot change. So I stand by it. First and foremost, let me just thank him for granting us opportunity to be in this wonderful place, this great institute. 3.5 weeks ago, he collaborated with UNECA, that is United Nations Economic Commission for Africa, to actually engage on a seminar program, of which I'm one of those people that actually facilitated the program for National Assembly, both the people there and the people that are staff. And it was a very wonderful program with respect to the development of trade and investment, not only in Nigeria, but in the entire continent, of what we need to do. As the first president of CIFIAN, at the same time the current chairman of council, I appreciate the DG for what he's doing and what this institute is equally doing. I think with this kind of collaboration, Nigeria will take its rightful place among community of nations, not only in Africa, but in the world. The presenter of paper today, we have been meeting over ECOWAS capital market integration. I'm a consultant on ECOWAS common investment market, and we have been working together to make sure that your savings in Nigeria can be invested in any part of other West African country. So we put up WASRA, the regulatory agencies, and the capital market. Those are the stock exchanges in ECOWAS. So we have been having a lot of meetings. I'm sure the topic is delivering for us today is something that will equally put us in the better position for effective interaction, not only within ECOWAS, but under African Continental Free Trade Area. Ladies and gentlemen, your being involved in CIFIAN is a very wonderful one. Let me just say that when Nigeria refused, or we are thinking whether to go into or not to sign African Continental Free Trade Area, we organized a conference that is not going to be appropriate for us. In fact, as the chairman at that particular time, I actually said that it was a mistake for Nigeria not to sign African Continental Free Trade Area. And the president of the country said, who is that professor that is challenging my authority? So I have to appear on television again the following morning, where they were saying that, why do you say the president is wrong? I said, well, because I'm positioned to say that. How can an economic integration for the entire continent that started in legal power of action in 1980, concretized in Abuja in 1991, on the African Economic Community Treaty, on the time the thing will start, we said Nigeria will not be part of it. You are putting on, the country is not putting itself in the rightful position. Because the fulcrum of economic integration in Africa should be Nigeria. And the day the president was going to sign, he called us to also rock and said, Professor Aremo, I think you are happy that I'm going to sign now. I said, it's not me that have to be happy. I want the future generation not to be sidelined, not to be actually marginalized. Because this is Africa. So at CIFIAN, we are actually doing every effort to be able to make sure we position not only this particular group correctly, but to position Nigeria within the entire Africa. So you are partnering with us, and we believe that as we go ahead, you are going to enjoy us once and again. Thank you for listening to me, everyone.
It is indeed my pleasure to be here this morning to join hands in building your institution. So it is a profound honor to stand before you today at this joint conference convened by the Chartered Institute of Financial and Investment Analysis Nigeria, CIFIAN, and the National Institute for Legislative and Democratic Studies, NILDS. I'm deeply grateful for the invitation to deliver this keynote address, and more importantly, for the distinct privilege of being conferred with the fellowship of this esteemed institute. I accept this honor, not just as a personal recognition, but as a tribute to the collective work of the Securities and Exchange Commission team and the reaffirmation of our shared commitment to the highest standards of financial and investment analysis in Nigeria. Our team, the digital economic transformation and inclusive growth challenges in Nigeria, captures the central paradox of our time. We stand at the cusp of a revolution powered by data, fintech, and digital innovation. Yet, we grapple with the persistent reality of exclusion. As the regulator of Nigeria's capital market, I see daily both the immense promise and the profound challenges of this digital dawn. Nigeria's digital economy is no longer a futuristic concept. It is our present reality. Our services sector, particularly digitally delivered services, is a primary driver of economic growth, signaling our increasing integration into global digital markets. We are recognized as Africa's most vibrant startup ecosystem, with Nigerian startups raising over $1.2 billion in venture capital funding in 2024 alone. And this has continued to improve, reinforcing therefore our position as the continent's leading tech hub. This is the power of innovation, the engine of the digital age. However, this engine cannot drive the nation if large segments of our population cannot even access the on-ramp. The most significant challenge to this inclusive growth is a stark digital divide. Reports from the World Trade Organization and the World Bank warn that weak infrastructure and regulatory gaps could prevent us from unlocking the full potential of the digital economy. At this junction, I want to say a big thank you to Mr. President, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, at the signing of the Investment and Securities Act 2025 that provides specifically and copiously that the SEC regulates the digital space in Nigeria. While we have made progress in expanding digital infrastructure, internet access remains highly uneven, creating a chasm between our urban and rural communities. Nearly half of Nigeria's internet access is concentrated in just 3 cities: Lagos, Abuja, and Port Harcourt. This is not merely a connectivity issue, it is an economic and social justice issue. The International Telecommunications Union knows that 23% of Nigerians remain relatively completely unconnected. This digital exclusion threatens to create a digital appetite, turning millions of our citizens into digital ghosts, unable to participate in the formal economy, access credit, or benefit from digital services. Indeed, the future of finance is digital. We risk stalling over $1 trillion in potential GDP growth and leaving generations behind. The challenges are multifaceted. Beyond infrastructure, we face persistent power supply issues, uneven digital literacy, and regulatory bottlenecks, such as multiple taxation and restrictive rights-of-way policies that stifle the expansion needed for inclusion. This is the inclusive growth challenge in its weakest form. For us at the Securities and Exchange Commission, the digital transformation of our capital market is central to bridging this divide. We are committed to creating an ecosystem that is not only efficient and transparent, but also accessible to every Nigerian. This means leveraging technology to do one, democratize access by supporting innovative platforms that lower the entry barrier for small-scale investors. We can channel more domestic savings into productive investment. Enhance financial literacy through our subsidiary, Nigerian Capital Market Institute. We are intensifying efforts to educate all Nigerians in local languages and through accessible channels about the opportunities in the capital market. To this end, for the very first time in Nigeria, the Investment and Securities Act is now in an audible form. Not only is that the case, we have also introduced the short codes for the verification of capital market operators. Indeed, we are fostering innovation. We are actively developing the regulatory framework for new asset classes, such as derivatives and commodities, to provide more tools for investment and risk management. My own doctoral research focused on the impact of cryptocurrency operations on macroeconomic variables, reflecting our commitment to understanding and responsibly integrating financial innovations. But the SEC certainly cannot do this alone. This is why the collaboration with NILDS is so vital. The legislative plays an indispensable role in creating the enabling environment for inclusive digital growth. As the Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, Right Honorable Benjamin Kalu, recently articulated at the WTO Public Forum, Parliament must lead the way in law making, advocacy, and oversight to drive digital transformation. We need laws that mandate and incentivize infrastructure expansion, policies that encourage the rapid deployment of broadband fiber to every local government area, ensuring that connectivity is treated as a fundamental utility. Harmonize and simplify the fiscal landscape, addressing the issue of multiple taxation to lower the cost of doing business and expanding digital services, strengthen consumer protection and data privacy, building the trust that is essential for citizens to confidently engage in the digital economy, supports the Nigerian Startup Act, moving towards beyond enactment to ensure robust funding and implementation to our brightest innovators that build their future here and not abroad, creating a Delaware in Nigeria. The World Bank and the WTO have laid out a clear roadmap to expand the fiber optic infrastructure, enhance last mile connectivity, and strengthen competition in the telecommunication sector, and adopt a balanced framework for data and consumer rights. The task before us is to translate these recommendations into concrete action. Fellow Nigerians, the future indeed is digital, but a future that is only digital for a few is a future that has failed and a future that will breed poverty. Our goal must be a future where a farmer in a rural community can use his mobile phone to not only receive payment for his goods, but to invest his savings in a unit trust where a young graduate in a peri-urban area can access the skills and capital to build a tech company where every Nigerian, regardless of location, has a digital identity that unlocks access to finance, education, and opportunity. The Securities and Exchange Commission is fully committed to this vision. We will continue to innovate, regulate with foresight, and partner with all stakeholders, including the National Assembly, other regulatory agencies, the private sector, and development partners, to ensure that Nigeria's digital economy transformation is a rising tide that lifts all boats. Let us therefore work together to build a digital economy that is not only dynamic and competitive, but also just, equitable, and truly inclusive. This is the time to do it. There is no better time. The best time actually is yesterday. Thank you, and God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
We adopt the protocol, as it were. Thank you very much, distinguished SecDG, for that beautiful rendition. You applied academic discipline, to the topic, because I thought you were going to you were going to adopt the V shape, but you adopted the L shape. So it starts well with me. But again, I would also appeal that perhaps you go a little bit further. The strength and the attractions of digital transformation also has inherent in it risks, and of course pitfalls that we need to also understand. I know you may not carry, you may not be able to address this as a whole, but they are essentially, pitfalls that we also need to, at the primary level, be conscious of it. Thank you very much, DG.
Thank you very much for noting that. Oftentimes, we take innovations and new vistas with the optimism that drives it. And yes, it is important that as we do so, we must appreciate the risk that is around it. And appreciating the risk around it does not mean that you are not embracing it. It only means that you are being cautious of the likelihood of events that will definitely happen, because they must happen. For in every good thing, there's a bad side. But those bad sides can only be reduced. Oftentimes, you cannot completely eliminate them. Your ability to reduce them to tolerable instances creates the sources that you require for progress. And so clearly, your point is correct, well noted, and like you know, in academics, you don't have the opportunity to say everything. Otherwise, future researchers will not have anything else to research on. Thank you.
But actually, they are moving us towards digital economy that we ought to have been for a very long time. But you see, it is better to be late than never. But I will encourage regulators and political economic sectors of government, departments and agencies to collaborate and help us to scale up with speed. And part of that, I would like to make suggestion, because this gathering is a gathering of professionals and academians. And in that light, I would like us to sell an idea of a broad leaf from China. In China, all productive establishments, industries, mega industries, and establishments have a workable, practical workable R&D department that inculcate their younger upcoming entrepreneur into the practical aspect of the businesses that they do. And that is why their e-commerce platform is very active. You are here, you don't even sometimes need to visit China to buy anything, and you get them. And if I tell you, if you are there, if for some of you that have been there, we are always there. Canton Fair is about, we're about to go again. And you will see that a family, nobody is begging to apply. You see them, they have an establishment, in-laws, fathers, you see a warehouse. When you get to the street of Beijing and Guangzhou, what you see is high-rising. Those high-risings have more warehouses than a living houses. So our major city here, like we normally say, are like the settlers, where agricultural and food products and raw material come to the city of Guangzhou, Fanyang, Yiwu, and Xin, and Xi'an, all. So the risk management aspect is what Oga just about. Just like you rightly say, sir, we cannot say bank has been failing and now we will not have bank again. Like that, we already know that there are pitfalls is for us to have our strong risk management aspect of it, so that we can upscale our economy. It's only in our country here that we estimate our population. If you ask anybody in this country today, they will only give you estimate of our number. Nobody can tell you that this is. All of us are estimating that going by the growth rate of 4%, Nigeria is expected to be a so population at so time. So we should make sure that this work for us all. That is what will reduce all other negative aspects in our economy. Is when people are largely engaged, that we will see that those negative aspects of our economy that you are talking about will go down. And because people are already engaged. So that is my contribution. But the particular question I want to ask my DG is that what is the position of crypto trading in investment in Nigeria as of today? Cryptocurrency.
Crypto.
Yes. Yes.
The first part of your question, or of your intervention, was a contribution. And the last part, which is very short, is about crypto. Cryptocurrency is a digital currency, globally known and globally followed. I wouldn't say globally accepted, because some jurisdictions up to this point have banned it. However, it is like air. It is something you cannot stop. The premise of cryptocurrency didn't start today. It started actually with the Keynesians and moved up to Joseph Schumpeter in 1950 on creative disruption. And subsequently, in 1975, the Nobel laureate Friedrich von Hayek spoke about it, and he called it freedom money. And of course, the one that brought it to limelight was Satoshi Nakamoto in 2009. What is the essence and what is the value? Is decentralization. Removing power of finance from sovereignty into the hands of the people. That's what it is. What has that done? It has helped in speed of transactions and created an inalienable right among the people that are using it. And that is why, in pursuance of the global trend, the ISA 2025 recognize digital assets. Cryptocurrency is one of the digital assets. And so, what have we done? In 2020, we produced a statement speaking to some level of clarity around cryptocurrency and its derivatives. In 2022, we issued a regulation called the Virtual Asset Service Providers Regulatory Framework that regulates the trading of cryptocurrencies and all other digital assets on recognized exchanges that are registered by the Securities and Exchange Commission. We have improved on that. And we created what we call the ROI, which is regulatory incubation and the accelerated regulatory incubation. Therein, we gave provisional licensing to two institutions, Bosha and Quidas, that trades cryptocurrency. We have received over 45 applications for the registration of more exchanges to allow for the trading of cryptocurrencies. And indeed, you have a deluge of cryptocurrency operators on the peer-to-peer railguards. So, to answer your question, very simply, the trading of cryptocurrencies is recognized and regulated in Nigeria.
My question is tailored toward the financial institution in respect of the digital transformation. You may correct me if I'm wrong also, I don't know all. In Senaclim, I know to a great extent that they use one identity, like maybe social identity, to determine registration or affinity with institutions. But in Nigeria, when you want to get registered or get affiliated with a financial institution, they will request the BVN, some will request the NIN, and currently they will ask some institution will say tax ID. You know, what's the essence of all this? How are we going to harmonize that let me use the word, citizens will not be, encumbered with a lot of, BVN, NIN, tax ID in getting registered with, especially the financial institutions. Thank you, sir.
There's always a beginning, and sometimes the beginning is rough and even less appreciated. The essence of identification is critical to our national infrastructure. However, attempts from different angles produce different results. The NIN is actually the national identification number, which is primed on national infrastructure. The BVN is the bank verification number, which is specifically tailored to financial institutions onboarding. And of course, the tax ID comes with the NRS for the collection of tax. However, it is important to understand that all of these processes were aimed at one thing: creating identity for Nigerians. But what's the good news in all of it is we are working towards convergence. And sooner or later, there will be convergence, wherein one identity will be sufficient for all transactions. And that is actually even active now with the new NRS Act vis-a-vis the NIM. So, I understand the frustration, but do not be despaired. Convergence is on the way, and we'll be using just one ID like it is in the US, which I'm sure you are referring to, the Social Security number. But I can also tell you that even in the US, you have other identities. It's just that the dominance is with the Social Security number. Thank you.
Permit me to stand by the existing protocol. Today mark another great landmark in the history of CIFIAN. My duty here is simply to thank you all for all you have done to make today's event a success. The dignitaries here, we all know them. For them to have put in this effort to be here with us today, I say thank you to all of you. The DG has been supportive. I remember the first time we came here, he was particular about this collaboration. I thank God that in his presence it's happening, and I believe that from strength we will grow to strength, and we will have more collaborations. Our amiable DG SEC, the spokesperson of today, you know, our Christian brothers, they will say you will never be the same again. I believe that the way we came in the morning, definitely we have achieved one or two things that has added value to us. Definitely we are not living as we come before. We are living on a higher note. Thank you, sir, DG, for your wealth of experience that you have shared with us. We thank those two that have also asked questions that add color to today's event. Our newly inducted fellows, I say congratulations. The journey is just beginning. CIFIAN is growing stronger and stronger. We have the Prof, we have the academicians. They are here. Together, we join hands to move this institute forward. Your contribution will be highly
welcome, because nobody will do that for you. It is your performance that will distinguish you to see that this fellow that you are a member now, you need to prove yourself by making contributions. Every month we have metad where we discuss national issue. Partake in it. Log in. It's just once in a month. We'll be there to share idea on how we can move the Nigerian economy forward. So once again, for all of you to be here to honor this invitation, I say thank you for coming, and I wish all of us a very safe trip back to our various destinations. Thank you very much.